You gotta pay the troll toll to get in.
Welcome to the Troll Hole Podcast, where your favorite comedians trash the trolls so you don't have to. I'm Mike Lester. With me is my co-host, co-creator, Ben Katzner. Ben Katzner's here.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Troll Hole. Thank you for being here. And we have a guest today. Who's our
wonderful guest, comedic phenom, author, podcaster. He does it all. Green tea advocate. With us today is the very wonderful Myq Kaplan.
Yeah.
Myq Kaplan.
Thank you so much for having me. I will say that I advocate anyone who wants to drink green tea, drinking green tea. You don't have to. Thank you for providing it for me in, I say, the opposite manner of a troll. The Troll Hole is a great name for a show. I thought all the great names were taken. Great name, great concept. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Someone else had the name. Someone else had the name technically, but they haven't posted in 6 years. So we're pretty confident.
By the time this podcast comes out, this might not be the name of it.
Yeah.
Their last ep they posted was about Michael Jackson. So I don't know. I don't know if they're coming back or they're on hiatus.
So maybe the name will troll them back into trolling you, and you'll have a Troll Hole Bowl.
Oh, I like that. Oh,
Who will win the Troll Hole Bowl?
Okay. Yeah, like a
2 on 2. Yeah. What should we play? I'm gonna pick up b-ball. I'm a hooper.
All right, so wait, Neil, can you maybe turn us down a little bit? I feel like. Oh, I have the knob.
Yeah, right there.
Which one?
Knob.
This one?
Yours is 3.
Turn the knob.
I can't read numbers.
This is great content.
This guy?
Next one.
Yeah.
Segueing into some knob turning, baby.
Yeah, Troll Hole Bowl. We're all back. We love it.
We love it. Troll 2v2.
So this is the Troll Hole Podcast. What we decided that we wanted to do with this podcast is, we're all public figures. We're on the internet. People are saying things to us. It can get a little wild, a little loose, a little wet, a little crazy out there.
Yeah.
And we want to take the power back. We want to troll the trolls. We want to take out your trash so you don't have to.
Yep.
And that's the goal.
Send them back.
That's the Troll Hole goal.
That's the Troll Hole goal. And we'll see you at the Troll Hole Bowl, brother.
Mike, you're awesome, dude.
Guys, I didn't make these words rhyme.
But you're thinking of them, though. You're thinking of them.
And we also have our producer, Neil, with us. Neil, thank you for being
Thank
here.
you, guys. I appreciate to be here.
Neil on the mic,
excited.
too.
Neil on the mic, never on camera.
Never on camera yet. We don't got enough.
We'll get a Neil cam one day.
One day.
Cam.
We don't have enough smartphones to get Neil on camera yet.
Turn on my laptop one.
Yeah.
So real quick, I just want to check in. How's everybody's week? Mike Lester, how was your week? Anybody say anything weird to you this week?
Good. Just got back from LA. I was on set a few days, and I met a producer. And later, the producer said, "Yeah, anyone can be in this business. You can have a mullet and not be conventionally attractive. Like, I'm 10 feet away. I'm 10 feet away from this woman while she's saying this. She meets me and she's like, yeah, I mean, I'm like a miracle. I'm on set. She's like, yeah, if you're not conventionally attractive. I'm like, Jesus fuck.
So if you're not watching the video of this, Mike has what we would call mullet minimum. I feel like this is the maximum level.
It used to be
It's kind of a
longer.
flow.
Yeah, it's kind of a flow, kind of a hockey flow, but it's so pointed because I'm like the only one there with a mullet.
Sure.
I'm the only one.
If I may, the classic description of a mullet is business in the front, party in the back, and this is a party that ends at ?
You're not leaving this party until you get kicked out.
Yeah.
Party don't stop.
And then you also have the Civil War general style facial hair as well.
It's a mess right now. We're working with kind of a mess.
Your whole head's a Civil War.
Yeah. Yeah, I look like I died at Bunker Hill. No, I was one of the first taken out. I'm like a drummer, you know those drummer boys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They come in to announce the battle, and they're like, okay, well, let's get rid of them first.
We're here, clunk, I'm out. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see you dying first in a battle. That makes sense. I love that for you.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike? How was your week?
Thank you for asking. I am having a great week at the Acme Comedy Company.
Yes.
One of my favorite places to perform comedy in the universe. And also right now, well-timed, who knows? My phone is on airplane mode now, so nothing new will be coming in.
Sure.
But I did post something 5 days ago on Threads, a conversation between, an imagined conversation, but one that is based on my own life, a non-vegan and me. The non-vegan saying, where do you get your protein? Me saying, have you ever eaten a vegetable? And the non-vegan saying, we are at a stalemate. And then a person who has the nutritionist in their title.
Okay.
So they're legit.
In their handle.
Yeah.
Yep. Who doesn't follow me.
Yep.
Who I don't, or maybe follows me, but I don't follow.
Okay.
Says that you can get protein from plants, but there are several nutrients you can't. And so I say, which ones? And for starters,
You dug in. I mean, you're like, we're having a conversation.
I'll ask, like, that wasn't, they were agreeing with me that, yeah, I get protein, great. But, and they said, well, vitamin D3. And I'm going to skip a few, but I said that I've been vegan for 20 plus years. My body's been fine with the vitamin D that I've been getting from almond milk and sometimes supplements. So I think he had said, our bodies prefer vitamin D3 that we get from the sun or animals. And I said, well, the animals' bodies prefer being left alone, and my body is doing fine. So I appreciate your thought and care, but I'm doing fine for now. All the best to you. And then he said, you ever had your hemoglobin and vitamin A tested?
Oh, wow.
They usually do this through third parties like me. And I did say, what would the practical result be if my vitamin A or hemoglobin levels weren't optimal? And he said, vitamin A is responsible for a number of things. And I was like, well, so far so good over here. Best of luck to you. And then he said, have you been tested or are you just guessing? And I said, I appreciate your concern. All set with handling my medical needs off of social media. Best of luck to you. And he said, you didn't really answer my question, though. But I understand. Most people don't prioritize getting vitamin and nutrient tests because they're expensive and doctors won't do them. And I said, I didn't really answer your question because you are a person I don't know who is not entitled to every piece of information about my life. I prioritized my privacy in this instance, and I'm glad that you understand. And he said, understood, but there is nothing I can do with that information. You act like I asked for your social security number, LOL.
Oh.
In order for you to say you're good and healthy, you can't have nutrient deficiencies. If you haven't gotten that checked, it would be wise to do so. I do blood work for a living. You'll need to go to an independent practice to get vitamin A tested.
Can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
It feels like he just wants
He wants to
business.
book you. Yeah, he wants to book you for an appointment.
Well, the very next thing I said to him, with all due respect, this is not the way to get my business.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
If you're concerned about my well-being, I appreciate it, and your points have all been noted. I'm not concerned that you'll do something with my information. I'm responding to the fact that you continue to inquire after I've made it clear that there are facts about my life that I'm happier not discussing with you, an internet stranger. And I can absolutely say that I'm good and healthy without your permission. Much love.
Much love.
He wrote back,
Much love, though.
I made
One love.
He said, I made one inquiry. I haven't inquired again. Anyone can say they're healthy, though. Blood work proves it is all I'm saying. Smiley face. I wrote, I think this is the last thing I've wrote. This is the final one for now. And we're on airplane mode. Who knows what'll happen in this hour. But I said, and what I'm saying is that I don't have to prove anything to you. And that you asked more than once. And then I quoted that he said, you ever had your hemoglobin and vitamin A tested? And have you been tested or are you guessing? Followed by, you didn't really answer me. And I do blood work for a living. You'll need to go to an independent practice to get your vitamin A tested. I said, so the only thing about me that I'll admit is unhealthy right now is how much I keep responding to you here. Good luck to us both.
Dude, this guy wants your blood, dude.
He just wants a little vial. He just wants a little vial. It's not going to violate any HIPAA laws. Come on.
Is it a red flag that the rest of his handle is Vampire the Nutritionist?
It is a blood red flag. Absolutely. This man, I got to be honest, like we've known each other for a few years now, at least minimum, right? And this is the most heated I've seen you be about any interaction.
You came in hot,
you're like,
Mike.
this guy is asking me medical questions.
Well, here's the thing. I really feel like he ultimately was being invasive.
Oh, of course.
Boundary, sort of pushing and smashing in a way that I'm sure that I'm not the only person he's doing this to, because he's a person I don't know. Yeah. And so I'm sure he's just finding, things on the internet, people who are saying things that he disagrees with, or, could be an inroad, a launch pad to try and, guerrilla get their business in a way that I can't imagine is effective. So I do a lot of my anger processing in private, and here's the thing. I've talked to you about this a little bit, Ben. That I do consider myself. I haven't talked about this on stage much yet, but I consider myself a recovering argumentaholic, and this is a bit of a backslide.
It feels like
a relapse.
I brought you to a bar and I was like, come on, it's one shot.
But sincerely, I'm okay. I'm fine. I at some point will stop responding to this guy and may block him, may mute him, may delete that whole thread, may delete all of Threads, may take down Mark Zuckerberg, just to get this off the internet. But the way that I truly used to do this with everyone, with every Facebook comment. If you have a post sometimes that goes a little viral, like if it's about,
I don't know what you mean.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to say you. Every once in a while, it doesn't happen all the time, but like if I post something about, about veganism or about, social justice or a political, thought, like sometimes, the algorithm sort of outrage detectors are like, hey, everyone look at this. And then a lot of people comment beyond my fan base, beyond people who know who I am, beyond people who even know that I was joking in the beginning, like not about any particular vitamins or nutrients. And that we got from D to A. He's like, okay, so you're set on D. What about A? Let me get the whole alphabet. But I came to my new procedure is certainly if people write back to me and they are nice and respectful, then I will write back to them and have a lovely conversation. If somebody writes back who disagrees with me respectfully, wonderful. Then maybe we can have an interesting talk where we're open to learning from each other. If after the first back and forth, the person doesn't demonstrate a good faith commitment to, respect and kindness and compassion and communication, like that, the idea that we are both open to hearing what the other person says, because like I know that I don't know everything. I know that I don't have all the information. That's why I asked him questions to be like, oh, like I'm concerned with the health of my body. And maybe there are things that the medical industrial complex isn't telling us all. And maybe this guy does have valuable information that I could use. I just don't think that making me mad is the way to get my business. Maybe it's making other people see his name out there, Vampire the Nutritionist, which is not his handle. Somebody get that one. But I find it much more valuable to, here's a quote I saw recently. I forget who it is, but they said, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people you're around. And I think there's like evidence that shows like the people that you spend the most time with, including online, you become more like those people. So if you surround yourself with kind, compassionate, creative, wonderful people, then you will learn from them. You will influence them. They will, you'll rub off on each other, and not to say that you have to live in a bubble. Like there can be people who are kind and respectful who disagree with you, and that's like I've had conversations where people have said things and given me information that I didn't have. And I'm like, oh, well, now I think something different. I always think about the Stephen Colbert when he was doing George W. Bush's White House press correspondence dinner. And he said something like, George W. Bush is a man of consistency. I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, this is a man, he believes the same thing on Wednesday that he believed on Monday, no matter what happened on Tuesday. And truly,
God his ass. Take that, Bush.
I'm interested in, like, if something happens on Tuesday that can affect, like, I'm not in concrete married to every single belief that I have, and I'm open to interrogating them and learning more and growing and evolving and shifting and learning and changing. And And so I've had experiences where that's happened for me. And I've also had experiences where somebody came in hot to me, and I was as much of a human being as I could, expressing kindness and love and compassionate boundaries where I disagreed with them. And then sometimes they would end up, changing their mind about something, and which is like a miracle on the internet. But I've had a few miracles occur. So that's my goal is always to hopefully maintain my composure, be as peaceful as I can, meet people where they are, actually engage and commune with fellow human beings if possible, and if I determine after one or two back and forths that they are like a that if they are an ill-faith troll, then my goal is usually not to try and teach them a lesson, because they say sometimes if you turn the tables on someone, you're still at the table. So I'm happy that at any time I can get up and leave this table anytime.
Please don't. We're not that far into
not the podcast. Just the conversation, the table with that guy. I like this table. You have a nice table. This is a wonderful table. Neil at a literal table. Thank you.
Yeah. You figured out the formula though, kind of, because you've had you back in the day on Twitter, you had a lot of stuff go viral, and would you say like the posts that go viral, you kind of need that animosity in the comments to kind of get it cooking? You kind of need like two sides arguing?
I guess the short answer is I don't know. The long answer is I'll keep talking. The Dalai Lama once wisely answered a question. He said, "That's a very good question. The answer is simple. I don't know." And so now I'm going to say what the Dalai Lama said and more. Sincerely, I never figured out the formula. Like I had some things that, I think my most viewed tweet was back when Trump was saying his things either in the run-up to the 2016 election, and I think I quoted him, in a paraphrasing, joking way, saying he's like, Muslims are bad, Mexicans are bad, media are bad, and somebody's like, what about Nazis? He's like, there's good people on both sides, and something like that.
Classic time in politics.
And it just enough somebody like various people. I think it really is mostly that, Judd Apatow retweeted it, and maybe I think AOC liked it, and various people who had big followings saw it maybe because it had that initial controversial. I don't see why it's controversial, but
wait, Neil, make a note. Can we get Judd Apatow and AOC on the podcast, please?
Can we get them? Can we zoom them in real quick?
Have you guys seen Hari Kondabolu's latest special?
I have not.
He has a fantastic story about an online interaction with AOC.
Oh, interesting.
That I think I bet you could get Hari on the podcast.
I bet we could.
I'd love that.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll try.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the next part of the podcast is us just booking other podcasts.
Yeah.
I'll recommend. That's like the way that I have lunch with my mom. We spend much of the time discussing the next time that I'll have lunch with my mom. Classic Inception mom lunch.
Sure. Absolutely.
But yeah, that's so the answer to your question is truly, just to button it up in a sandwich style, I don't know. But for sure, the algorithms on, it seems like most of the social media sites are made to feed, outrage certainly doesn't hurt. If people are looking, they want eyeballs, because eyeballs equal ad dollars, says a guy who does not sell ads and only has 2 eyeballs.
And actually a lot of vitamin D in eyeballs.
Wait a second.
I know you're vegan.
Yeah, I'm not going to eat anybody's eyeballs here. My eyes were a little too small for that face stomach.
And if anyone was wondering, my week, the weirdest thing someone said.
I totally forgot.
Hey man, that's that. We were finishing up me, and we were about to get to you. Can I tell you a quick thing before we get to you?
Please.
I did a podcast sometime during the lockdown phase of the pandemic, where I was the guest, and the host asked me how are you? And I was like, well, that's a big question these days, because me on an individual basis compared to the way and he was basically, I don't know if he was intending it to be just like, hey, how are you? Fine. or what are you up to? Like, sincerely. But I was like, I mean, today, and I like went through everything that I had done that day that led me to this place of gratitude of, being able to commune with another human being who, even if it is just a pleasantry, the fact that another person is saying, how are you, like dedicates like some kind of space in my heart to like how I am actually doing. Thank you so much for asking. So how I am is like grateful to be here. And he was like, cool. Do you want to ask me what I've been up to? And I was like, hey man, how have you been? He's like, fine. So my next question is,
he's coaching you through the podcast.
And this is how we have a conversation.
Just to be clear, I think he did it as a very funny bit and was not mad at me.
Okay, that's great.
I was the guest on his podcast, so I was not wrong to answer his question.
Feels like he might have been trolling you a little bit.
I think so. Let's get him on here. Anyway, Ben, my next question is, what's been going on for you this week?
Oh my God! Thank you so much for asking. First and foremost,
hey Ben, anyone say anything weird to you this week?
Oh boy, do I have some answers for you. Well, first, I've been working with Myq at Acme all week, and it's been very fun for everyone. Maybe not me all the time, but for most people.
I've gotten the phone calls. Yeah, I've heard the phone calls.
I've quit my comedy career mid-set a couple of times, but
bro, I loved everyone. I've never quit Ben's comedy career in the middle of a set. No, every show I have loved you being on it and receiving your hilarious comedy. I would fire you if I didn't.
Another show. Right?
It's such a good lineup too. You got Aiden McCluskey hosting.
Hilarious,
he's awesome,
so funny.
What a lineup!
Yeah, it's really great.
This will come out in February.
Nobody can see this. You'll maybe see the clips of this on the internet. You're not going to.
You'll see a reel or two. You'll see a reel.
You idiots!
Hey, the early show tonight sold out. You couldn't have come even if we released it right now.
Let's go.
The Myq Kaplan draw.
So I think the weirdest thing someone said to me this week was after one of these shows, someone kind of came up to me and they're like, "Hey, this was so fun. You're all so funny. It's nice to see an all Jewish lineup." And the thing about that is, Myq is Jewish.
That's correct. I do mention it on stage.
Yes.
And technically speaking, I do the majority of the show. I do about an hour, and your portion is less than that.
Yes.
And so is the host's.
Yes.
So the show is, by time volume alone, majority Jewish, but it is for sure not an all Jewish lineup.
They could have just missed the first two comedians.
Aiden
and then,
McCluskey. They're like, it seems like we've been hearing about Jews for a long time.
So I was like, Aiden and I are not Jewish, and I was just like, oh, I'm not Jewish, but I could see, in New York when I lived there, people were like, oh, Katzner, that's a Jewish last name, so maybe you thought my last name was Jewish, and she was like, no, it was Ben. Your name is
Your
Ben.
Your first name is what the Jewish first name of Ben.
What?
And I got to be honest, I haven't slept well since I heard that. I don't know what to do with that information. I don't know if I'm culturally appropriating.
Any first name is like a Jewish name, though.
All right.
I'm glad we're talking about this.
It could be, though.
I will say Benjamin is my Hebrew name.
Benjamin?
Did you know that Jews have a Hebrew name and that is mine? Yeah.
I love it.
My grandfather's name was Bernard, and so my family thought about naming me something that started with B, but I think they didn't like any of the B names for my legal American English name.
I mean,
and so they're like, but your Hebrew name, the one that no one will ever hear and nobody actually knows about, that one will honor your grandpa Bernard by being a different B name.
I mean, I have curly hair and I don't do well with dairy. I could be Jewish.
And truly, you cannot judge by the color of a person's skin the content of their religious character.
Yeah. Famous Jew Martin Luther King Jr. said that.
Martin Luther King. Junior. Putting the Jew in Junior.
All right. That was, I don't know. I have no idea how we're going to transition between things, but that was the first segment.
We absolutely could. Yeah.
What time are we, or how much time do you think we have left right now?
We are at 1:40. We're flying through it.
So,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should just get into kind of the last thing that we like to.
You want to look at some trolling?
Yeah, I want to dig into some of these trolls that we've gotten here. For Myq specifically, you posted you did was it for CNN, the video did?
Yes, there is a CNN short comedic video op-ed I did it is January as we record this, and I was invited to do this.
Cut that out, Neil. I don't want them to know. Sorry.
You want to hold for EDM?
Sorry. No, you can keep going. Yeah, we're recording in a music academy where Skrillex is just teaching kids how to do stuff. I guess. I don't know. Fred again is downstairs. I don't know what's happening.
I was invited as a vegan to do this op-ed for Veganuary, a name that I didn't come up with, that they thought about because it's the first month of the year. A lot of people make resolutions to change their lives in healthier ways, in ways that they've been meaning to, like in the vein of Sober October. They're like, oh, Sober October, it rhymes. Veganuary, a perfect portmanteau, no notes. And so going vegan for January, I did this video. I put some jokes in it. I said some things I really believe in it. And a lot of people liked it, including many vegans and many non-vegans. And then I also got some feedback from both the vegan and non-vegan end of the spectrum. Some non-vegans like, I'm going to eat more meat because of this. This is insufferable. And some vegans that are like, this doesn't go far enough. You're letting meat eaters off the hook. And I'm like, so am I perfect? Is it just right? Am I Goldilocks? Anyhow, so yeah, on Instagram, the video has gotten a lot of love from a lot of people I know and a lot of people I don't. On TikTok, it's gotten seen by a lot of people I don't know, and that's where I think some of the trolliest notes have come from.
Sure.
Yeah, one is from Lethe, I believe is their handle.
I feel like it's okay if we don't get it right.
Yeah. Lethe says, this is incredibly obnoxious, and I can't believe anyone paid you to make this.
And I'll have you know, no one did pay me to make it. This was done on spec out of the love of animals.
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay.
Yes.
You are an incredible podcast guest too, Myq.
I thank you.
Yeah.
I love talking.
A lot of pearls of wisdom.
That's very kind.
A lot of pearls of wisdom.
I do my best.
You are so kind to trolls online too.
I mean, I really want everyone to eliminate their suffering and increase. I want all sentient beings to increase in happiness and decrease in suffering. And I honestly do feel, you've heard the thing like holding a grudge is like taking poison and hoping that the other person dies. Sure. And I think I've added I don't know if I'm the originator of this, but I believe I came up with this addendum to that, which is taking let's see, so holding a grudge. Oh, being kind to people, being compassionate to people, forgiving people is like taking vitamins and hoping the other person also gets healthier. And sometimes it works. Sometimes, it definitely, I know that it makes me feel bad when I am mean. Sure. So, it's kind of selfish for me. I'm not being nice for us. It's all of us. We're in this together, and it's a closed system,
Yes, yeah.
The everything is coming from inside the everything. Please, Ben. Continue.
You want another comment?
Yeah, and then our goal with this is we're going to choose one of these, and we're going to try to create the perfect comeback as a team here, as a unit.
Can I say real quick, a thing that I thought about saying that I didn't say back to this that I don't think would be perfect to say, because I think it would, add... I would stoke the fire, he's like, I can't believe anybody paid you to do this. I'm like, did someone pay you to comment this?
Sure.
Clearly, so frequently when we have a critique of someone else, it often, is it possibly true of me?
Sure.
There's have you guys watched the show Justified?
No.
A little bit.
Oh, I love it. And there's just an episode I love so much where Raylan Givens, I think is the character's name, played by Timothy Oliphant. And he says, if you meet an asshole in the morning, you met one asshole. If you meet assholes all day, you're the asshole.
Damn.
And so, truly, if you're going around being like, fuck this, fuck that, I can't believe this, well, at least one part of the equation, if not the common denominator in all of the situations, is you. Is there anyone or anything in your life that brings you joy? Then great. That means that there is joy and the possibility of joy and the spark of light of joy in you. And that's just what I want for these trolls.
Wow.
That's really deep. And
Yeah, it's just the wisdom flowing out of you right
I'm
now.
kind of like, yo, are we assholes for doing this podcast?
Mike's like, I just want to heal people, and we're like, we want to expose them.
Hey,
What's
man.
the worst thing that's ever happened to you online? Exploit them.
Ben, it's the troll hole, not the whole hole. It's not the asshole hole goal bowl, you know?
We're in the hole. Mike's
so
looking
funny.
in, baby.
Yeah, what was the other comment?
Mike, they could have been paid, though. They could be
I was thinking about
be
that
part of the
too.
creator
Like
program.
The anti-George Soros, you know,
Yeah.
going after liberals.
Yeah, they could.
Like, you know who's got a lot of money that we can really take down? Comedians.
Yeah.
That's where they come
And
out.
vegans. Yeah.
Vegan comedian, a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Here's another one from Piop and BJJ. Oh, a martial arts.
Sounds like a real person.
Yeah. How do I delete someone else's video?
Classic. That is a classic online.
Yeah.
Like, no one knows that I saw this somewhere else. You know, like they think it's so clever.
And
Yeah.
truly, a thing that I do say, and I don't know if I said this to that person, but any engagement that you get on your videos on your channel, like on YouTube or TikTok or social media, like literally helps you get more people to watch your stuff, which if that's your goal, then it does. I remember like Liz Mealy, wonderful comedian who I think maybe is one of the first people who I like learned this from years ago, that she's just like, yeah, if people say mean things or negative things, like you don't have to look at it, you don't have to engage with it, you don't have to spend time with it. But every once in a while I will write back to somebody who has said a mean thing and be like, thank you for choosing to spend part of your life with me in a way that helps me. It is generous of you to spend your time in my online home. Like, and you know, they can read it in whatever tone they're going to read it in. But I truly am grateful for anyone to spend any time. Like, there's no obligation for anyone to help us have a career. You know, it's all gravy. It's all bonus.
You're forever connected now. Like they've helped you.
I love these people.
Yeah, that's so funny.
It just helps you in the algorithm. Like conflict makes comments.
Can I say there was a tweet once that somebody wrote that I think about, and I talk about it on stage every once in a while. I haven't like fully cracked it, but I just think it's beautiful. A guy tweeted, "I love every comedian in the world except for Myq Kaplan."
Wow.
I was like, I think this guy doesn't know that he loves me. I think like this is like a classic rom-com beginning. It's like something about this guy, you know.
So
this guy's got cooties. He's the only one not for me. Are you sure?
Very
That's
schoolyard
really funny.
crush type stuff.
Yeah.
You're funny. Not you, Mike.
Yeah. You know, the Buddhists say that they say something like, you know, your next breath is not guaranteed. Your next lifetime is guaranteed, but your next breath is not guaranteed. So like any breath that you spend like on something that you don't like or someone that you don't care about, like what it could be literally, that could be it could be the last thing that guy ever did. Maybe he was happy about it. Maybe he's on his deathbed being like, this is how I'm going out. And I don't know.
Fuck you, Mike.
My last wish. My final wish.
Can I reply to that? I want to reply to that one.
Yeah.
I hope it's still there.
Here's my reply to I love every comedian in the world except for Myq Kaplan. My response, I think you love Myq Kaplan.
Yeah.
That's it. And that would burn that. You'd be like,
No, didn't you read it? I said everyone but. I said everyone but.
He's just marching around in his basement. How do they know? How do they find out? There's no way.
He got I tried to camouflage it so quickly and easily with the knot.
That's great. That's really funny. Mike, is there anything you want to respond to? I don't know. Who knows what this segment will ever be?
I mean, I love every comedian in the world except Myq Kaplan. clearly you haven't seen every comedian in the world.
I absolutely. There are comedians that
Clearly.
I have inspired.
Sure.
Yeah.
That are, I mean, and maybe they're happy that those comedians aren't doing what I do as good as they're like, thank goodness they haven't reached full Myq Kaplan potential.
Yeah.
But that reminds me of a quick thing that a friend of mine, we worked together at Boston University in like the early mid 2000s, and she knew my work as a comedian. I'd just been doing it a few years, but she told me, you are my second favorite comedian. And I was like, please, if you don't mind, could I learn who your first favorite comedian is?
Dave Chappelle.
Jay Leno.
Even worse.
That's very funny.
And the joke that if I do it as a joke on stage, I'll say, and what other comedians do you know? And she says, oh, I only know you two. Yeah.
Hilarious. That's really
What
funny.
bubble are you living
Yeah.
in?
The best bubble.
Well, she's like, I know you did The Tonight Show. I'm like, I actually did The Tonight Show when Conan was hosting it. She's like, oh, I guess I didn't watch. I thought it was Jay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wild, first of all, to say to someone. Also, to your thing, it's like, yeah, come to an open mic. Let's see if you really like it. Let's put that to the test. I like that.
Though, perhaps, in this troll's defense, in my trollmate's defense.
We're not doing that. We don't do that here.
Trollmate. I'm happy to hang a lantern on that. I'm going to jot that down for later. But I think that's the punchline of that joke when I do it. But is perhaps this person doesn't see open mic comedians as comedians yet. That only when you it's sort of the no true Scotsman fallacy. Do you know this? They're like, no Scotsman would ever do this. And then somebody's like, well, I know a Scotsman who does that. And they're like, no true Scotsman would do this. It's like, a fallacy that people like use in argument on the internet all the time. And so this guy might be using that. He'd be like, well, if you're like, well, what about this comedian? Surely you wouldn't love this comedian as well. He's like, well, that is not a true comedian. Sure. The only true comedians are, of course, Dave Chappelle and Jay Leno.
That's beautiful. We gotta wrap, I think.
And Ben Katzner and Mike Lester.
Yes.
And Neil.
Neil, get into comedy so you can be a true comedian.
Neil's in comedy, dude.
Yeah, Neil is in comedy, but like
He's on this podcast now.
that's a good point. Myq, do you have any plugs that you want to share with anybody? Where will you be in February?
Yeah, well, everyone
March?
come to Acme in Minneapolis several weeks ago, and or the next time I'm around.
You're there every year.
Love it. Love Acme 100%. My tour dates, everything, you can find everything at MyqKaplan.com, MyqKaplan.com. That's how you spell com. And you can put Myq Kaplan in all the places on the internet to find my podcasts that, Ben, you've been on my podcast.
I've been on your podcast.
Broccoli and Ice Cream is the name of one of my podcasts. The Faucet is another. The Faucet is basically like this, except without guests. Just imagine if I were here and you weren't. And
the ultimate podcast.
Yeah, all my social media is at Myq Kaplan, spelled that way. I have a newsletter that I send out every week at MyqKaplan.substack.com, full of jokes and thoughts and fun things, and you can subscribe for more there if you want. And the book, you mentioned in the opening, the intro, very kindly, that I'm an author. I will use that term loosely. I did collaborate on a book of illustrated jokes. I wrote the jokes, and my friend Ramin Nazer beautifully illustrated.
Awesome artist.
He's an incredible. Follow him. I plug him. Go follow him online. Get all of his books. Our book is called Heart Brain Art Train, and just every page, I mean, some of the silliest things that I've said that he made into beauty. I'll just give you one example. I just read a tweet from years ago that I'm like, can you do something with this? And I just wrote the two types of whale are sperm and killer. So, love and war. And he created an image that is like a yin yang of a killer whale and then like a beautiful pink whale, in, a circular, an Ouroboros almost, but just a beautiful. You should, guys, buy the book. It's much better than me describing the book, and there's dozens more.
The audiobook should just be you describing the pictures.
Oh, that would be incredible! Oh my God!
Hey, Mike, can I throw that picture on screen as you're describing it?
Yes,
100%. Okay, cool. Yeah, they'll be able to see it then. Too.
Oh, excellent! But don't do it immediately. Let me sort of really scramble for a while, and then be like, oh, we do have video capacity here. Yeah, he could have done that. I thought it was just audio. I forgot there's cameras. Okay, the point is oh God, where's my book? But yeah, here, I'll just say this fun thing. You can search my name anywhere, and I think you will find something. I have a fan who became my fan because one day they were searching for vegan recipes on Pinterest and accidentally didn't realize they were on Spotify.
Wow.
So they searched Spotify for vegan recipes, and they found my comedy. Which I guess that's the main thing. If you come see live shows, which are on my website, but if you can't see a live show or whatever reason, just if you can't, if you can, you do it, but you must. It is imperative. Ben, I'm in the middle of something.
Jeez, Ben.
Don't troll me by coughing in a normal way or sneezing or whatever it was. But
I don't know.
all of my albums are variously on the streaming platforms, your Spotify's, your Apple Music, your Amazon's, whatever major corporation you love and want to support. So yeah, my albums are there. The most recently recorded one that is available is called AKA. I'm super happy with it and proud of it. It was recorded here, actually in Minneapolis at Acme a few years ago. I love it. I hope you love it. And there's also a special on Amazon. Oh, and a special on Dry Bar that you can, if you put in the code Myq Kaplan as a promo, you'll get a free month of Dry Bar. You can watch my special over and over, or there's also other ones there as well. That one's called Live from the Universe.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
That's
This has
it.
been another ep. Mike, we love you. Thanks for
Thank you
coming
for
on,
being
man.
here. This was fantastic.
Thank you. I
appreciate
loved
you.
it. I really appreciate your having me. And here are the rest of my plugs.
That's it. We're down at the troll hole. Hell yeah.
You gotta pay the troll toll to get in.